All right, so now that we've warmed up a little bit using R, let's go ahead and keep working with the hotel tutorial data set, work with the same analytics activity one. We'll just keep adding onto this. What I do want to do though first is go ahead and clear our console because that's just information from our previous sessions and we want to start with something new. And to do that, click on the broom icon. So that should clear that out. And then we will save this as necessary, your script for from that analytics activity one. So you can click on the save icon or go to file save, which in my case it's not an option because it doesn't need to be saved again. And let's go ahead and create a new script file. Now recall, well, first let's do this. So click on the plus icon and then choose our script. And then from there, you'll start a new one. And recall from the previous activity, the analytics activity one, that we use scripts to help us with running analysis. Because if you look at this, I mean, this is a pretty simple example, but if you tend to keep running the same thing over and over, like if you know that you'll always do a frequency distribution, for example, then this will be pretty much the same thing, right? You just need to change the name of the data set and then also the variable as necessary. And this will be make it easier for you to catch errors and things of that nature. And so for this class, we're going to typically be using script files to help us run our analysis. So let's start with a new one. And just like what we did for the first one, we're going to put comments on there so that we can remember this. But then it's also good practice so that if others were to look at your code, they're going to know what's going on. And if you look here, we start comments by using the pound sign or the hashtag. So let's do that. Hashtag script file for analytics activity 2. So we're not going to save a new activity or anything. We'll just create a new script file. And then second line, it's also a good idea to include information about the types of packages that you would use. So this script requires the summary tools package. And so this would be the line of code for installing and activating that. And we already did all that for this activity, right? But this would be the line of code you would write to install it. And then under packages, you would look for summary tools and you'll know it's activated if it has a check mark next to it. Otherwise, if you try to use the tools that go with that, for example, descriptive statistics that help us determine the mean, median, mode, it's going to tell you it's not going to work because it's not activated. For this example, I also want to, and I already used these words, I want to do, let's see, DESCR, yeah, descriptive statistics, mean, median, mode on the hotel data set. So recall we named it hotel and then dollar sign. And the variable I want to work with this time is minibar. And the minibar variable is the respondent's estimate of the amount spent on minibar purchases during most recent hotel stay. So how much did they spend? So hotel dollar sign minibar, that's the name of the variable. And then we also want to do a histogram. Hotel dollar sign minibar. So this will create a graph for us to visualize what the various responses look like as a whole. Now, before we do anything else, what I'd like for you to do is look over the lines of code that you've typed in so far and ensure that you have it correct. So for me, I see that I need to put a space after library. Otherwise, it looks okay. And if you plan on using your R script again, it's a good idea to go ahead and save it. And for our purposes, yes, I would like for you to save it because you will be submitting this. To do that, go to File, Save, or there's a save icon. And from there, it will ask you to choose a file name because right now it's Untitled1, which is not very helpful. So let's call this one Use Your Last Name and then Analytics Activity. Gosh, did I spell that right? Activity 2 script. And then click on Save. And now when you look at files, you'll see that that script file is right there. And the next thing I want to do before we run these items here is I want to create an output file for our analysis, for our output to go into that file. Yes, it will always go in the console, but I also want it to be saved in another file. And this would be another case where I'm just giving you the code. So there's no need for us to get bogged down with what exactly is going on. Because again, we're just letting the computer do all of this. And for our purposes, we just need to know what the line of code is that would make that happen. In this case, to create an output file, go to your console, like I did here, and type this in sync space, and then the opening and closing parentheses, and then inside double quotes, say my output. And then outside of the double quotes, a comma, space, append equals true, comma, space, and then split equals true. And if you're really interested in knowing what it means to append equals true and split equals true, please feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, I'm just going to leave that out of my explanation just to keep it simple, because really what we need to know is just that this is the code for creating an output file. So double check your code, and when you're ready to execute the command, go ahead and click on return. And then now when you look over here under files, there's going to be a my output file where when we run commands, that's where the output is going to go. And right now it's 0 bytes in there because we haven't done anything. All right, so now that we have a script file and an output file, we're ready to run our script. Now you could run your script all at once, or you could do it one at a time. The best way to go about it, my recommendation, and that's the way we're going to do it in this class, is to run it one line at a time. That helps us catch errors in our code because as we're running it one by one, we're going to know which ones work and which ones don't. So first one we want to do is library summary tools. And to run a line of code, you just click anywhere within that line and then choose run. So that looks like that worked. And then now we have this descriptive hotel mini bar. So this is going to give us descriptive statistics like mean, median, mode, and many more items, as you'll see. So click on run. Make sure you got your cursor in there somewhere. And you'll see that the results showed up in the console. But then if you look at your my output, now you can see that there's information on there. And that's going to be this information right here. And really it's given us a lot more information than we need right now, but it is still pretty useful. This is part of data understanding. we could see that out of the people who responded, the average is $46. That's how much people spent on average with a mini bar. And then there's at least one person who didn't spend anything. And then the maximum was $100. So, see, we could see a lot of useful information that way. And if I didn't already say this, what we're doing right now is just learning the workspace. So, I'm showing you how to use R, but then also I'm showing you the different statistical analysis stuff that we have available when it comes to different types of variables. Okay, the next one is the histogram. A histogram would just be a visual representation of a frequency distribution. So when you're ready to run that line of code, click somewhere on that line and then choose run. Now, a histogram is different. It's not going to go in our console. It's going to go under plots. And for this assignment, this analytics activity 2, you will submit 3 different items. You're going to submit this image, and then you're going to submit your output file, and then also your analytics activity 2 script file. Okay, so let's talk about how you can have these different items so that you could submit it in Blackboard. So 3 different files. There's your script file. So before you do anything else, ensure that you have it saved. So go to File Save or click on the Save icon. And then once that's ready, click on the checkbox portion and then go to the gear icon, click on it and choose Export. And from there, you can save this file. Let's see. It'll ask you to name it and then you can download it. And then from there, typically it's going to go, let's see, where will this take it? Oh, it looks like it downloaded it to my downloads folder. And then you can do the same. So I'll uncheck that. You can do the same for your output. So more, export. And for this one, let's just make it easy for you to stay organized and put your last name, analytics activity to output, and then download that. Go ahead and cancel that. For me, I'm canceling it, but for you, download it. And then the last one is your plot. So your plot is an image file, or you could save it as an image file onto your computer. So right now, it's just in our R workspace. We want it on your computer like we did these other 2 files, the output and your script file. So to do that, one of your options when you're under plots is to go to export and then save as image. And you could just keep it as a ping file, this PNG, give it a name. So let's just stay consistent here. Because this is a histogram for the mini bar, let's just call it mini bar histogram. And then click on save. And then that's it for analytics activity 2.